So Bishop, could you explain to me what has happened today and what it means?
What we've done today is to give ourselves a little bit more time in order to make sure that when we come to the final approval, what we have before Synod is likely to get through. There were some real doubts today that had we gone forward, there were issues which had caused unhappiness in various quarters, and that unless we really applied our attention to that, we would have gone over the edge of the cliff and it would have fallen, and that would have been disastrous. Now,
will you keep an amendment of some sort, do you think?
I think it all depends on how the bishops judge what's happened. They'll need to bear in mind that 1/3 of the Synod today wanted to carry on. In other words, they didn't want the amendment to be withdrawn. That would be an interpretation on probably most of the people who voted that way. So what the bishops are going to have to do is to think very carefully. I think to go and remove the whole amendment would cause just as many problems as it appears inserting it has done. I think simply to reinforce the amendment would probably do no good at all, because it wouldn't help those who are already unhappy. So what the bishops have got to do is to try and find a way forward whereby a formula of words is sufficient to enable to keep all the different parties on board. And we're so near to getting that, but we're not there yet.
Why is the code of practice itself not enough?
Well, for some people the code of practice, although it is statutory, and in that sense it's got more strength than the Act of Synod, it still doesn't provide for some the level of security which they feel the measure would give. But for other people to go and put certain things in the measure, and particularly on defining the kind of male bishop who would be appropriate for the traditionalists and the conservative evangelicals, would be to introduce a level of discrimination which, as we heard in the debate, probably wouldn't anyway be acceptable to the Ecclesiastical Committee in the House of Lords.
Exactly, and does that concern you, that what you do might in the end be rejected by Parliament anyway, if there's any discriminatory concerns about it?
Well, we've got to keep that in our minds, because we are the established church, and General Synod, when it does pass a measure, is actually creating a law in the law of the land, and that has to be vetted by Parliament through the Ecclesiastical Committee's advice. So although we must avoid, as far as possible, being dictated to by Parliament, it's pretty sensible if you try and make sure that what arrives at Parliament is going to be consonant with what we believe Parliament is likely to accept.
Can you think of a form of words that might do all this?
Now, Ruth, if I were able to do that, I wouldn't be sitting here now. The Synod would still be in session, and I would be being feted for having produced a miracle.